Yo, what's up? It's Jason. I'm back again with another video, and I'm on the road, of course, as always. It's been a little while since I posted a video, so I had to do a mega collection update here. I got some killer OGs just yesterday here in Toronto. We're talking like underground industrial and hardcore thrash, crossover, punk. Also, earlier in the week, I got some cheap thrills, if you will, some cheap heat, as our man Clifford, the vinyl cheapskate, would say. I got a couple of CDs to show and 1/7 as well. But before we get into all that stuff, I got to talk a little bit about some of the shows I went to, including a show last week in Montreal. Last week, I finally got to see the legend that is Beau Wanzer. I've been following this guy for a long time, actually. His weirdo electronic, I like to call it, strange psychedelic techno, if you will, out of Chicago. Yeah, he's been putting out records since at least 2013, I think, like 10 years now, and including this one, which was his first official vinyl album release on his own label. This is like a self-release. That's the logo there that he chose. And yeah, I got him to sign some records, so that was kind of cool. So we got Beau Wanzer here. We got Beau Wanzer number 3. Truth be told, I have like a ton of this guy's records, including a 7, a couple of 10 inches, collabos that he does. He's got some really cool collabos with Corporate Park, for example. Yeah, just always really cool. He did a DJ set in Montreal. I don't know if you can see the signature on that one, but he did a little drawing for me, and it was really cool to meet him in person and catch his set as well, which was excellent. It did not disappoint. It was like psychedelic kind of electronic out there stuff, like I said. This is a collabo he did with Mapo Mazzucati in Brussels, I guess, in 2016. There's a signature on the back. So yeah, that was pretty much how my week kind of kicked off a week ago, was getting these wicked signatures, signings of my Beau Wanzer record, some of my Beau Wanzer record collection. I got lots more in the tank. So then I made my way over to, well, I guess next I made my way over to Hamilton, catch a noise show. Didn't actually pick up any merch at this one, but it was really cool because I got to see a guy who performed in my hometown, Ottawa, a week earlier, but I had missed his set. Got my second chance to catch it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video and I'll put some of that live business going on, Beau Wanzer, and some of the noise sets, and then I'm going to come back and we will get into the OGs and the cheap heats that I picked up in Toronto. All right, so hit up two amazing record shops in Toronto that I'm always talking about. And if you ever do come to the Big Smoke, as we like to call it sometimes, TO, you definitely have to check out Rotate This. This record shop has been around forever. Says serving Toronto's music needs since 1924. So I guess it was like sheet music back then. But this shop, loaded with vinyl. Not really any CDs or cassettes, but definitely specialize in the wax. They are known to have like huge discounts on record store day stuff, like deep discounts, like discounted 2-3 times, and an amazing selection of used stuff as well, which is where I got all my killer OGs this time. And I also went to Sonic Boom, which is another fave of mine. Probably the biggest record store in Canada, biggest record store in Toronto. It's like 2 mega floors, vinyl, tapes, and CDs. And always some interesting gems to pick out, some pretty good prices too on used. I did get something that was kind of rare, and then I got some more familiar stuff. But I think we'll start off with the Rotate This. Oh, I also got a couple CDs to show at the end as well. I think we'll start off with the Rotate This stuff that I just got yesterday. It is fresh off the press. So the first thing I guess that caught my eye digging in the crates was this bad boy. Yeah, Corrosion of Conformity, Animosity. What a classic record. I still absolutely prefer the early COC stuff, as in this stuff. The crossover thrash hardcore. I remember getting this on cassette, Fringe product, Toronto-based distro back in the 80s, and really totally opened me up because at that point, as a little kid, I was totally into metal and getting into just starting to discover punk, and then of course hardcore. I mean, I think for years I always classified this as metal. It was bought at the same time as Dayglow Abortions and DRI, so the whole crossover thing was really in full swing. This is from 1985. This is an OG press. Got this sucker for $50. That's Canadian, so cheaper in US dollars. It's a Death Records release. Didn't get the Canadian press, but I did get the US press. Death Records was like sub-label of Metal Blade, and in this case also got distro from Enigma. So really happy to get this. I do have this already, a reissue of this already on like some atrocious, ugly splatter vinyl or whatever. So I'll probably be selling the reissue. Maybe I'll keep it around for a while. I'll do a little comparison for sure. But yeah, Animosity, OG copy in the collection. Now, while we're on the tip of crossover thrash, I also, flipping through the bins, I Rotate This, spotted this. Now, this is not the best Cryptic Slaughter album, but it's damn good. The first two, I think, are the best, and the last one, I think they changed all the band members except for one. But all 4 albums are really, really dope. The last album I have a reissue of. The first 2 I have OG. And now I've got an OG copy of the 3rd album by Cryptic Slaughter. This is the Stream of Consciousness album. As you can see, it's still got the shrink wrap. It's still got the hype stickers. It was open. It's not sealed. And it is a Metal Blades record. Copy. Slash Death, of course, but you don't really get the logo until the back of the cover down there. You get the Death logo. I like how they went for this sort of hippy-dippy psychedelic album artwork, but it doesn't really sound anything like that. It's not really trippy or psych at all. It's just straight up thrash hardcore. A lot of bass work. You can really hear the bass coming through. But yeah, Cryptic Slaughter are sick. California-based band. Next up, I found something newer than the 80s. This is from 2015, yeah, 2010s. Some hardcore D-beat. This one just kind of grabbed my eye, but also the fact that it's on Beach Impediment, which I've had some records on before as well. US label, I think maybe out of Virginia, I feel like. I'm not sure. The band itself is called Vasca, And this is Todos Contra Todos, All Against All, I believe, is the translation of that. And this band, Vasca, is out of Texas, Austin, Texas, 2010s, hardcore DB, full throttle. Plain black vinyl, just how I like it. So happy with that. That one was that was on the cheaper end of the scale. Also on the cheaper end of the scale, and a black and white cover. I'll show the 7-inch right now. This is a split 7-inch. Burial Hex is what grabbed my attention. I actually have this guy on a techno compilation, industrial techno, very industrial. This is more of a noisy experimental release, split between Burial Hex and Sylvester Anfang 2 on the back, who I think, if you look them up, they are kind of like neo-folk, what was it? I think it was like folk funeral, I think they like to call them. They're from Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. This is numbered 302 out of 500. Came out in 2008. It's actually pretty early stuff for Burial Hex. He has a lot of releases, and I'm sure I have some other stuff by him too that I just don't even know. But yeah, cool 7. Found that in the bins for like $10. Why not? I'll put that back in the sleeve. Sure. Next. Well, this is a real treat. And the last OG from Rotate This I'm going to show. I got some killer OGs from Sonic Boom, but man, wow. You don't come across this band that often, especially OG copies. And this is actually like their second release by Psychic TV. Yeah, totally interesting record. Very experimental, dark at times, ambient at times, neo-folk at times maybe. This is on Some Bazaar, so it's a UK pressing. Got the original inner sleeve here, green labels. So that's kind of cool. Dreams Less Sweet is the name of the album. Second album by Psychic TV. Of course, with Genesis P. Orange and the whole gang, and Out of the Ashes of Throbbing Gristle. They got a lot more techno and acid house as time went on, but industrial roots, experimental roots as well in there. So that was kind of a cool pickup to find that Psychic TV. And then this, last but not least, at this shop, this was a cool find. This is a total blind buy as well. Just looking at the cover, had to look it up. So this is SFH Sam fucking Hain, I think it stands for. It's like old demos reissued on vinyl. These guys were out of London, Ontario. So maybe Mike Uncommon Paler knows these guys. Cold Death is the name of this release. Probably the name of their demo. Put out on Urbane Grandeur. Not sure when this reissue came out, but originally this is from 1987. Canadian thrash at its hardest. Says Motorhead meets DRI in 10 rough cuts. It's a killer Canadian thrash, and it's really raw as hell too. So from the preview I listened online, so love it. Very demo quality. Yeah, there's the S fucking Hain there on the inner sleeve. Nice thick vinyl. 45, cut at 45 RPM. So that should be a good ripper. Yeah, like I said, happy with this selection I found yesterday. There were more. There was other records I left behind for sure, including some Dope Throne records that I was tempted to pick up, but just getting totally tapped out cash-wise, so couldn't do it this time. I actually have a Dope Throne record on order coming to me soon, the newest one. Just get the CDs out of the way. I found an OG copy, well, OG-ish, I don't know, it's a reissue copy of size, Scorn Defeat. It wasn't cheap, that's for sure. It cost me $20 for this one. I have this on vinyl, reissue of this on vinyl from Peaceville, and I think I have a CD copy kicking around as well, but not this version. Japanese black metal, it's absolutely sick. Love the synth interlude stuff, and it's very atmospheric, so kind of experimental. Some Psy, and then on wax, I found some cheap heats. I found some interesting stuff. Probably the most out there or experimental find, which I think I saw in the bins last time I was there. Still in the bins, not anymore. Now it's mine. This is Shockabilly. The name of the album, got some spineware for sure here, is Rockabilly, I think. Yeah. Shockabilly Heaven. This is the Heaven album. He's maybe the third or fourth record. This is a Eugene Chadbourne group or outfit, trio, if you will. Created out of the ashes of the previous Chadbourne combination in the 80s in New York. This one has Kramer, who sometimes was with Butthole Surfers, ran the Shimmy Disc label as well, and one other guy that name is kind of escaping me now, David something, I think. But yeah, Eugene Chadbourne, if you don't know, legendary American experimental folk artist, if you will, electronic as well, electric anyway. Yeah, just really cool out there shit. This is totally weird stuff. Maybe it has the other guy's name on here, actually. Nope. They do some covers, obviously. They do a Lennon cover, Instantly, called Instant Karma, and Life's a Gas by Bolin. And I think this is on Fundamental. Yeah, this is Fundamental, but a UK copy distributed through Red Rhino. And there's the Fundamental label too. That's a pretty cool, odd underground label to check out or to follow from the 80s. No longer around. US-based label. This is the vinyl. So yeah, this was just sitting in the bins for like $15. Glad to pick that up. Experimental stuff from Shockabilly and the Heaven album. On a much lighter note, I found a cheap used copy of Robert Palmer's Pride. This is a really good album, actually, by Robert Palmer. I'm a fan. I like his Power Station stuff. I like his other later solo stuff, but this is early solo Palmer, before Power Station, I believe, from 1983. This has got a lot of like reggae vibes, kind of, and I don't know, it's just interesting kind of fusion style, sort of funky, I guess you would say, including a cover of The System's You're in My System on this, which would have come out probably like the same year, I think. Saw a cheap copy of this, so grabbed this for the collection. This is like the third album by Devo, I think. Second or third. It's a little bit more synthy, this one, whereas the previous one's a little more guitar oriented, I find. Got this for only $8. OG copy of Devo. Of course, the big hit on this one is their cover of Secret Agent Man is on here. Triumph of the Will is on this as well. So yeah, there's some cool tracks on this thing too. So the original inner. Oh no, this is the one that has an inner sleeve of The Cure. Let's put it in here. So it's got Boys Don't Cry, etc. on the sheet, but old Warner Brothers Devo release. And then a band that I've been, off and on, always picking up, putting it back, not getting it, but I finally did the trick. Like a week ago, I picked up a CD copy, a compilation of some of their tracks. So I decided I would get this single as well. So I got a Mission on vinyl, finally, some Wasteland, Back with Shelter from the Storm, and Dancing Barefoot, and their cover of Iggy and the Stooges, 1969. So pretty cool EP, actually. A 12-inch EP for the price of a 7-inch single, it advertises. Mission Wasteland. Also cheap heats. I got, this might be my third or fourth copy of Colors. I just couldn't pass it up for $5. Picked it up. This will stay in Toronto. This will be my Toronto copy of this legendary soundtrack with Ice-T, Salt and Pepper, Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, Cool G Rap, Roxanne Shante. It's loaded with hip hop. A couple of instrumentals as well too that are non-hip hop. Well, no rapping anyway. You got Rick James, Everywhere I Go, and there's another track on here too. There is the Six Gun, I guess is kind of a instrumental track remixed by Dr. Dre. So, big movie from the 80s about the LA gang wars, and Ice-T, I think, was in the movie as well. And now the last record of the day for a very long video. Sorry about that. Man, this is pretty cool. Good hair metal. We'll finish off on like a little LA glam metal, if you will. Hard rock, Stone Fury. Couldn't resist picking this sucker up. It's got a little bit of damage here, but pretty fun riffs. Not a huge fan of the vocals. They're growing on me a little bit. I guess it was started by the lead vocalist, Lenny Wolf, out of LA in the 80s. This one is from 1983, I want to say. So there it is. Quite a pile of used records, OGs, rarities, and cheap heats. A few CDs thrown in the pile as well. I will be back to some regular scheduled videos hopefully soon, and I'll see you guys soon.